Welcome to Millennium Daytime Bulletin. I'm Shweta Simar from New Delhi and you're watching Millennium News Channel 24. Today I'm bringing you the latest news from around the world. Let's begin with today's top headlines. Macron names France's new Prime Minister but a showdown with lawmaker looms. Russia fires 93 missiles at Ukraine in massive strike, says Ukraine President Zelensky. Israel accuses an unprecedented number of Israelis of spying for Iran. US lawmakers tell Apple, Google to be ready to remove TikTok from app stores on January 19. Blinken meets Iraq Prime Minister to discuss Syria future fight against ISIL. US unveils $500 million military aid for Ukraine as Russia closes in on key city. Russia launches huge attack on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Global markets slide, but Mexico bucks with trend positive gains. Home nations discover World Cup qualifying opponents. Cole Palmer makes English Premier League history with 12th consecutive penalty. Now let's look at the details. Macron's office made the announcement a week after the former office holder Michael Barnier lost a vote of no confidence, forcing him to submit his resignation. Bayrou ran for president 3 times before rallying behind Macron in 2017. The 73-year-old is the founder of the centrist Democratic Movement political party MoDem and mayor of the southwestern town of Pau. He must now form a government and look to pass a budget through a sharply divided parliament where Macron faces an avowed opposition from both the left-wing and the far-right blocs. Everyone is aware of the difficulty of the task, Bayrou told reporters in Paris on Friday. I think that there is a path to be found that brings people together instead of dividing them. Barnier's minority government collapsed after just 3 months as it attempted to pass a 2025 budget which included $60 billion, that is $62 billion worth of tax hikes. His effort to force the agenda through without a vote gave lawmakers the chance to oust him, and left and right-wing forces united to bring Barnier down. Bayrou will take on that challenge, but it is unclear whether his stint in office will prove more fruitful than his predecessor. He must pass his own budget before December 21. If that deadline is missed, the government could still legislate a fiscal continuity law which would avoid a shutdown by allowing the government to collect tax and pay salaries with spending capped at 2024 levels, according to S&P Global Ratings credit rating agency. Jordan Bardella, the president of the far-right National Rally RN party, told CNN affiliate on Friday that there will not be an automatic closure motions against Bayrou. Our red lines are the same on the budget, he added. The ball is in Francois Bayrou's court. Russia on Friday launched a massive missile barrage against Ukraine early Friday, targeting critical energy infrastructure. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said The attack involved 93 missiles, including cruise and ballistic missiles, as well as nearly 200 drones in what he described as one of the largest strikes on Ukraine's energy sector to date. Another Russian missile strike against Ukraine, cruise missile, ballistic missiles. According to preliminary reports, 93 missiles were launched, including at least one North Korean missile. A total of 81 missiles were shot down, 11 of which were cruise missiles intercepted by our F-16s. Additionally, the Russians used nearly 200 drones in this attack. This was one of the largest strikes targeting our energy infrastructure, Zelensky posted on X. The Ukrainian leader sharply criticized Russian President Vladimir Putin, calling his approach a peace plan to destroying everything. Zelensky urged the international community to respond with strength, stating Putin won't be stopped by empty talk. Strength is what is needed to bring peace. Strength that is not afraid of its ability to confront and stop evil. He was also appealed for enhanced Western support, including air defense system and stricter sanctions against Moscow to counter Russia's aggression. In the month before Iranian ballistic missiles struck the Nevatim air base in October, Iran dispatched spies to film and photograph the site in southern Israel, according to the Israeli authorities. The alleged operatives were neither highly trained nor seemed especially suspicious to the people who knew them in the day-to-day lives. Many of them appeared to struggle financially, and yet Israeli authorities allege that the images they captured of the base provided Iran with valuable targeting intelligence. The Israel police arrested the suspects in October, a group of 7 Israelis living in Haifa, northern Israel, representing one alleged cell. They are amongst more than 30 Israeli arrested by Israeli's authority over the past year for allegedly carrying out missions for Iran, with the accusation ranging from photographing military bases to plotting to kill senior Israeli officials. It is unprecedented number, according to Israeli police superintendent Mayor Gorin, who oversees counterintelligence investigations. If we go check the last years and the last decades, we can count on 2 hands how many people got arrested for this, Gorin said. It is a sign both that Iran has ramped up its intelligence gathering efforts in Israel in recent years, and that after operating for months or in some cases years without being detected, Israeli authorities are finally catching on these under-the-radar activities. Israeli authorities are still uncovering more alleged Iranian intelligence gathering effort. Earlier this week, Israeli police arrested a 33-year-old Israeli citizen from the north who allegedly carried out tasks on behalf of Iran in exchange for thousands of dollars. The arrests have made waves in the Israel in recent months. Beyond the sheer numbers, the majority of those arrested have been Jewish Israelis. A shock in the country where Jewish citizens are imbued with a deep sense of patriotism and national pride. I wasn't surprised, I wasn't shocked. It was like thunder amid clear skies, said Leonid, the next-door neighbor of the accused ringleader of the Haifa cell, Aziz Nisanov. He doesn't have anything prominent in him, nothing that would make me or anyone from our house suspect that he should be connected to something illegal. He was an ordinary man. Gorbachevsky was home when people pried open Nisanov's door with a metal bar and watched as police turned the apartment inside out, finding piles of cash, he added. Like most of the other Israelis arrested on charges of spying for Iran, Nisanov had immigrated to Israel combined with financial struggles. Intelligence experts says that an immigrant background could make the accused easier target for Iran's recruitment efforts. The chair and top Democrat on a U.S. House of Representatives Committee on China on Friday told the CEO of Google parent Alphabet and Apple they must be ready to remove TikTok from their UP app stores on January 19. Last week, a U.S. federal appeals court upheld a law requiring Chinese-based ByteDance to divest TikTok in the United States or face a ban. Representative John Molinar, a Republican, and Representative Raja Krishnamurthy separately urged TikTok CEO Shouzi Chiu to sell the short video app used by 170 million Americans. Congress has acted decisively to defend the national security of the United States and protect TikTok's American users from the Chinese Communist Party. We urge TikTok to immediately execute a qualified divestiture, the lawmakers wrote. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has met Iraq Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani for talks on the future of neighboring Syria during an unannounced visit to Baghdad. Blinken visited the U.S. Embassy in the Iraqi capital on Friday on the final stop of his tour on the Middle East following the toppling of President Bashar al-Assad's government in Syria. Blinken and al-Sudani discussed the conviction of so many countries in the region and beyond that the Syria's transition from the Assad dictatorship to hopefully a democracy. It does so in a way that, of course, protects all the minority in Syria, that produces an inclusive, non-sectarian government, Blinken said, adding that Syria should not become a platform of terrorism. I think this is a moment as well for Iraq to reinforce its own sovereignty as well as stability, security, and success going forward. Blinken said the United States, Iraq together had tremendous success in taking away the territorial caliphate that Daesh had created years ago. No one knows the importance of that more than Iraq because of the ongoing presence of ISIS or Daesh in Syria, and we are determined to make sure that Daesh cannot re-emerge, he said. The opposition fighters who have toppled al-Assad in the Syria, led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, have devoured and Al-Qaeda and ISIL and said that no authorities in Iraq will stay. Iraq opted not to allow Shia rebel groups to intervene in Syria as the opposition forces advanced and ultimately seized Damascus last weekend despite Baghdad's concern that unrest could spill over the borders. The United States will give $500 million in military aid to Ukraine as part of an 11th hour push by outgoing President Joe Biden to bolster the country's defense before he leaves office early next year. Secretary of State Antony Blinken unveiled a significant package of urgently needed weapons and equipment on Thursday, which will include high mobility artillery, rocket system, ammunition, drones, and armed vehicles. President-elect Donald Trump's election victory last month could lead to drastic cuts in the U.S. military aid for Ukraine, a prospect that has led the current administration to rush through billions of dollars in already authorized assistance before he takes office. The new assistance followed closely on the heels of a $988 million security assistance package and a $725 million weapon package announced earlier this month. After Thursday's package, Biden still have access to about $5.6 billion of presidential drawn-down authority to rush weapons from U.S. stock to front lines without congressional approval. National Security spokesperson said on Thursday that Biden would continue to provide additional packages right up to end of his administration. The aid comes at a critical stage of the war, with Moscow's troops closing in on key city of Pokrovsk in the Ukrainian Donetsk region after a months-long push. Ukraine's ministry said in recent days that Russian troops destroyed or captured several Ukrainian positions near the city. the fall of ports as the important logistic centers for the Ukrainian military would be one of the Ukraine's biggest military losses in months. In parallel, Ukraine's Air Force reported on Friday that US and Russia they have both decided and Russia has launched a massive barrage of missiles and drones at the energy facilities during the morning rush hour, with power company Yansko reporting that around a half of 3.5 million consumers were left without power. Russian Defense Ministry cited Russian state news agency Interfax said on Friday that it had carried out large-scale assault, the 12th this year, targeting the power grid in retaliation of this week's Ukrainian attack on a military airfield in the southern Rostov region using long-range army tactical missiles missiles supplied by the US. Meanwhile, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said in Thursday that he had discussed with French President Emmanuel Macron the possibility of stationing foreign troops in Ukraine in case of a ceasefire. Russia has launched a huge attack on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, which authorities said was the 12th large-scale attack on energy facilities this year. 93 missiles and more than 200 drones were used, but 81 of these missiles were shot down according to Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. The air strike targeted sites in the western Ukraine, damaging energy facilities in several regions, some seriously. Authorities in the Ivano-Frankivsk said it is the worst attack on the region so far. Moscow said the attack was in response to a Ukrainian strike on a military airbase in the southwest Russia using US-made missiles. US President-elect Donald Trump said he disagreed very vehemently with the American-made missiles targeting sites in Russia and branded it crazy. "We are just escalating this war and making it worse," he said. On Friday, the Kremlin said that the Trump's comments were fully aligned with Moscow's position. "That impresses us," spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told reporters. "It is obvious that Trump understands exactly what is escalating the situation." Trump has told Time he wanted to reach an agreement to end the war and the only way to do that was not to abandon. Last month, US President Joe Biden allowed Ukraine to use US-made ATACMS missile to strike targets inside Russia. The first attack using the long-range missiles occurred the following day, with Russian authorities stating at the time that Bryansk region, which borders Ukraine, had been hit. Kyiv had been using ATACMS missile since October 2023, but only on Russian-held targets within Ukrainian territory. Russia's attack came on the coolest day of the Ukrainian winter so far, with temperatures around -6 degrees along the damage caused in the Ivanko region. Energy infrastructure facilities were damaged in the Lviv and Ternopil regions. No critical or residential infrastructure was hit in the Kyiv region, according to Russian Kharkiv and the area's governor. 5 out of the country's 9 operating nuclear reactors unit have been operating with reduced power. As a result of the attack, the Ukrenergo national power company had to increase power supply restrictions on Friday, with rolling blackouts being introduced in all regions. Ukrenergo added that during the day on Friday, electricity would be imported from Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Hungary, and Moldova. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. In total, Russia has captured and retaken about 2,350 square kilometers of territory, that is 907 square miles, in eastern Ukraine and in Russia's Western Kursk region. Now bringing you latest updates on today's market trends. Global markets saw a generally bearish performance today, with US indices posing slowly and losses amongst lingering economic concern. The Dow Jones dropped 103.44 points or 0.24%, closing at 43,800, while the S&P 500 and Nasdaq fell by 0.2% and 0.32% respectively. These declines reflect persistent investor caution amongst inflationary pressures and potential central bank actions. Volatility index rose 2.08%, signaling heightened uncertainty as market participant braces for economic data release and earning reports. The Russell 2000, representing smaller cap stocks, experienced a sharper decline of 0.92%, highlighting challenges for growth-oriented sectors. In Canada, the S&P/TSX Composite fell by 0.93%, while the S&P/TSX rose and slipped to 6.07%. In Brazil, Bovespa also dropped 0.46% and a notable reversible from its recent uptrend. Child's S&P recorded a minor loss of 0.05%, reflecting relative stability compared to its neighbor. Mexico, however, stood as the bright spot, with the S&P BMW gaining 2.08%, adding points to close 51,000. This positive performance also brings optimism in key sectors and favorable policy developments. Today's trends underline a cautious global market environment as economic uncertainties and geopolitical factors weigh on sentiments, while the US and other major economies are headwind. They see headwinds. Mexico's gains suggest opportunities for regional differentiation. Investors will continue to monitor macroeconomic trends and policy announcements for directions in the coming days. Energy commodity led the market today with strong gains, providing optimism and mixed performance across other sectors. WTI crude oil climbed 1.61%, reaching 71.15 per barrel, while Brent crude oil rose 1.31% to $74. These increases reflect confidence in global security, market demand recovery, and energy potential tighter supply amid geopolitical uncertainties. The national natural gas, however, saw the plunging 4.8%. Expected weather reduced short-term heating demand in the metal market. Precious metals faced notable pressures. Gold prices dropped by 1.23%, signaling reduced safe haven demand on investor-way central bank policy shifts. Silver saw an even sharper decline, falling 2.04% to $30. These moves suggest shifting sentiments, with some traders rotating out of metal amid improving economic risk appetite elsewhere. Agricultural commodities also experienced headwinds, with soybeans dipping 0.9% to $9. The decline reflects supply-side adjustment and potentially weaker export demands, with major importing nations contributing to challenging outlook for agricultural producers. Today's trend underscores the dynamic nature of commodity markets. While energy prices are buoyed by demand optimism, metals and agriculture are encountering bearish pressure from a mixed economic and seasonal factors. Investors are closely monitoring global supply chain developments and macroeconomic indicators for clearer directions, particularly in period of heightened market uncertainty. We'll be right back after a short break. I'm Shweta Simar from New Delhi. Keep watching Millennium Time Bulletin.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
back after the break. I'm Shweta Simar from New Delhi and you're watching Millennium D Time Bulletin. England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland have discovered their 2026 World Cup qualifying opponents following Friday's draw in Zurich. England, under the new head coach Thomas Tuchel, will face Serbia, Albania, Latvia and Andorra. Wales will meet familiar foes Belgium plus North Macedonia, Kazakhstan and Liechtenstein. Scotland will play Greece, Belarus and the loser of the Portugal versus Denmark Nations League quarter-final. Northern Ireland are up against Slovakia, Luxembourg and the winner of the Germany versus Italy. The games will be played across 5 international break between March and November 2025. The top team from each of the 12 groups qualifies automatically for the World Cup, which will be held in the US, Canada and Mexico, with the second placed teams going into the playoffs. A total of 16 European teams will qualify. Scotland and Northern Ireland have been drawn in 4 teams group and will not start their games until September. The Scots face Greece, who are coincidentally also in their World Cup qualifying group in a 2-legged Nation League promotion relegation playoffs in March. Chelsea star Cole Palmer broke an English Premier League record on Sunday as he scored 2 penalties in his side 4-3 comeback, winning against Tottenham. The forward remained ice cold while converting the 2 second-half spots kick, bringing his tally up to 12 penalties in the league. Without missing in doing so, he broke the previous record set by Manchester City's Laya Toure, which scored 111 consecutive penalties per Opta. Palmer broke the record with the audacious Panenka penalty in the 84th minute, chipping his second ever down the middle of the goal, a technique named after crutch football great Antonio Panenka. When I put ball down and stepped back, I knew I was going to do, he said after the game. I thought it was in late this game and it was a bit crazy, so I went for it. Palmer, 22 years old, became one of the best players in the world, leaving Manchester City to join Chelsea in 2023. It has helped Chelsea rise to second in the table. The Englishman didn't drop his level against Tottenham, creating one of his side goals in addition to scoring his 2 penalties. The match hadn't started well for Chelsea, though, as host Tottenham capitalized on individual errors to take a 2-0 lead after 11 minutes. But Chelsea remained calm and cut the deficit in half after 17 minutes, courtesy of a fine strike by Jadon Sancho. That was all for now. Thank you for tuning in. Stay with us for more updates. Log in to stay updated with the latest news on our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at Millennium News 24. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel Millennium News 24. You can also watch us on Android and iOS devices as well as on Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV and all smart TV platforms. Enjoy entertainment and latest news with us. Download the Millennium TV app, Millennium TV USA for Android and Millennium News on Google. Thank you for being part of Millennium News 24.